Good morning. So, I want to talk a little bit about full self mastery without um, marijuana, um, or it could be alcohol, or it could be any other kind of outs. It seems like those of us that have very strong energy flowing through us, the very strong, powerful energy, have a tendency to find outs like alcohol, marijuana. There could be other things, other addictions, all sorts of things that give us that release the pain. So it's basically like finding outs, not to have to deal with all of the internal turmoil because we are so complex and there's so much going on and the emotions are um, so extreme and so strong that a lot of times we don't want to have to deal with the emotions, so we find all sorts of outs, especially with those of us that have um, higher purpose. Well, we all have higher purpose, but those of us that have a um, unique, very strong gift to give to the world, complex. The more the energy that flows through us is strong or extreme, the more complex our life is, the more we have to push through and overcome in order to self realize. And a lot of times along the way, we will choose all sorts of outs because it gives us a an ease uh, from the intensity of it, of the rising, of the spiritual work, of whatever we are processing at the time, right? Because we are processing information that is flowing through us, and it becomes so intense sometimes when we're before we awaken that we don't even know what to do with it. We can't. It's almost like we can't sit in it, so we take all sorts of outs, and these can be by ways of marijuana. It can be alcohol. It could be ways of behavior, like having these automatic. Um, Anger, victim mode, all of these things are addictions as well. You become addicted to whatever gives you a sense of relief from whatever it is that you don't want to deal with, whatever emotion is coming up, whatever complexity, whatever fears you have. And so you can check out your mind. um, and in order to fully self-realize, you have to come into that place of purity. You can't come into full self realization when you are smoking marijuana because it is a false sense, right? So you get that sense of being one with the God. There is a lot of medicine. It's a plant medicine, and so there is medicine in marijuana. And I want to talk a little bit more about it in a minute. I want to focus on the marijuana in this because it's something that I have and am dealing with. Coming to these realizations within myself because I am understanding that the true spiritual rising is without having all of these outs and all of these help. You have to fully be able to process your own self and come into that connectiveness in your purest state, because otherwise it's always altered. So with the marijuana, you can get glimpses of heaven on earth. You can get glimpses of what it feels like to be in pure connectivity, but you're getting it through smoky mirrors. You're getting it through a distorted sense of reality. You're getting it through an entity. You can see marijuana as an entity, right? Because marijuana as a plant, its expression is in the physical world visual. But if it wants to get, the marijuana can only get that expression of consciousness through a host. So that means that the only way that marijuana can get an expression in this world is through the consumption. If I consume it, then I go into consciousness, that the marijuana consciousness, and it's like I am creating a avenue for the marijuana to get expression in the world, right? Into the ethers world, or into the conscious world. And so it's kind of like, you could see marijuana as kind of like a leech, or a you could call it a demon, you could call it an entity, you could call it a deity, you could call it is its own consciousness, but in order for it to get expression, it can't get expression without a host. So when I consume marijuana in any form, or any other plant medicine, I am actually giving it representation in the higher planes. I'm giving it representation of of consciousness. So it is attaching its consciousness onto my consciousness, and I am getting a distorted sense of consciousness, because it is a combined consciousness, me and this plant medicine. In I'm also using it as a service. There is a service that the marijuana gives you, which marijuana is actually, it's like a shortcut, right? Because it will give you that smoky, because you don't get that really nice, clear, intentional um, um, enlightenment that you get without marijuana, where you can actually even bring it into the 3D world and actualize it, right? Because when you smoke, it's like your consciousness is smoky. So you have all of these ideas and all of this grand scheme, but it's kind of like a falsity, because you can't actually, it doesn't have power in the 3D world. It's just in the ethers. My battery is finishing, so hopefully I can finish up this point really quick. Just show you where I'm at. I found the kids put all these couches here. So I'm really out here in the open, just sitting on these couches in the middle of nowhere. Um, so marijuana is like a shortcut. So the way that I see it is that you go through life, go through life, go through life without any falsities, right? And when you get to a place where you have a wall, like you can't go any further. Everything is all mumbo jumbo. There's all of these, it's like you get to a place where everything in your mind is all you've gone through life, let's say, for a year, or for 6 months, or for however long. And then if you smoke marijuana, but in like a shamanic um way of doing it, like you go out into nature and you light a fire, and you create you actually do like a shamanic ceremony with the marijuana as a means of receiving its medicine. You can get a shortcut. So all of a sudden, when you smoke the marijuana, it softens your mind. You get into you take a ride, like a to the ethers, and you can figure out so many things that you've gone through over the past year. It's kind of like taking a shortcut. It's kind of like tying up loose ends. It will give you inspiration and give you um, as you are on the spiritual awakening and spiritual path, it will give you enlightenment, like understanding things, but you can't use a shortcut in life, because if you're always smoking marijuana, you're just shortcutting through life, and you're not being able to actually be in your own fine, divine, beautiful light and consciousness. So if you use marijuana the way that marijuana can be used as a medicine, would be you go through life, go through life, go through life. Once in a while, you smoke, and then it will allow you to process all of the emotions and everything that you have gone through up until that point, and bring you into a knowing of separating what is important and what is not important. And I'm definitely not doing a video on saying, yay, this isn't, this is just solely observing from what I have observed from it. And my internal knowing knows that in order for me to come into my full power, it cannot be with any kind of help, because we're transcending the ego. We're transcending things that we're holding on to. We're transcending our addictions. We're transcending our ego, which our ego is full of addictions. Our ego is full of behavioral patterns that we have created it's the same thing. It's addictions. And so if we are using marijuana as a coping mechanism, it is addiction. It is an addiction. If we are using it so that we can get through another day, then we are not fully standing up in our power. And so, and everything is divine. Marijuana is divine as well. What I'm talking about is coming into that place of your full power. You cannot come in with all sorts of dependencies. Because if you are dependent on your happiness being in a state of smoked up, you're not being in your natural state. You haven't overcome and mastered life yet. So I'll just show you, I'm out here. It's just so pretty out here. And what I was doing, I'm actually on a morning adventure picking all sorts of, after the rains. So I don't know if you can see it. But after the rains, there's all sorts of plants that grow here. I think I have like 5 or 6 different kinds of plants here, and they're all sprouting up now, so it sprouts. And I feel like first of all, it's really healthy. Second of all, it comes from the ground that I live on, so it connects me even further to this ground and to the Mother Earth, and allows me to get out into nature and really get to know the nature intimately as well. And it's also, there's something really nice about eating plants that I know where they came from, and I picked them this morning, and then I pick them and eat them in the same day, so they're like at their full vitality. So sending you guys so much love. I'm working on some projects now, and hopefully I'll start bringing them a little bit into light, because I'm intending on bringing my focus back. Look at these flowers. Beautiful. I am bringing my focus back to me on this twin flame journey and this spiritual awakening, and trying to be a little bit more, getting more and more honest with myself. The twin flame thing, as I'm doing a lot of internal work with that, and being honest with myself about it, and I'm going to hopefully in the near future do a video about it. I have to come into complete acceptance of it. I'm still processing it all, and I feel like soon I will do a video a little bit more personal about the journey that I'm on, that is the same dynamic as the twin flame journey, but be a little bit more open about it and speak about it. Sometimes I feel like it's so personal that it's difficult for me to talk about it. It also brings up so much pain inside still, which I am processing and transcending. I know that that is of the ego. So as long as, that's part of the rising, that's what's allowing me to rise. So that was just a personal note here. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that this was helpful. It's helpful for me to put it into words. So thank you.